Next up, we have a ship that's kind of interesting. It's probably my least favorite ship in all of Star Trek from my favorite episode in all of Star Trek. From All Good Things, the last episode of Next Generation. And the ship was in it for probably the first 20 minutes of the show, and then it gets blown up. But the fact that they mixed some of the crew on here is kind of disappointing to me, because it means we might not get some other ships that I was kind of hoping for. But anyway, we'll get right in and take a look at the USS Pasteur. Here we have our Olympic class dial. They gave them a Mirror Universe faction, since it was from an alternate timeline. But the Olympic class is just a horrendously ugly ship. Get a better view of the ship there. It is a really ugly ship. You can see it's pretty fast with a 6 forward on there, all the way back to a 1 reverse, lacking all of the tight 1 and turn 2s. So definitely a very non-maneuverable ship. It was a rather bulky science vessel, but interesting maneuver dial nonetheless. Very fast. Then we have our named USS Pasteur. 1 attack, 1 agility, 5 hull, 4 shield. 2 tech upgrades, 2 crew upgrades for 22 points. Then you have evasive, scan, and battle stations. No target lock, interestingly enough. Was a science ship after all. And our ability is, after you perform a maneuver with a speed of 5 or greater, you may immediately perform evasive actions as a free action. Kind of a nice ability there. We have our generic Olympic class. Still think they should have made the generic across Mirror Universe / Federation. But you're losing 1 shield on there, and you're losing 1 crew upgrade for 20 points. For captains, we have William T. Riker, and this is where I start having issues with the pack, because Riker was never even on this ship. He's a captain skill of 7, 1 elite talent for 4 points. As an action, you can place a scan token beside your ship. You may perform 1 action from your upgrade bar as a free action. You cannot perform the scan action as a free action this round. This version of Riker is also an Admiral. And Admiral Riker gives you a +1 to your captain skill, 1 elite talent for 4 points. And you gain that as a fleet action. This Riker was actually captain of the Enterprise-D refit, the Galaxy X class. And the fact that he's in this pack just annoys me. Like I said, he was never even on this ship. But I was really hoping to someday get a Galaxy X as a prize ship. And the fact that he's on this ship, it makes it that much less likely. Kind of disappointing to me. Next up, we have a new Worf. Captain skill is 6, 1 elite talent for 4 points. As an action, you roll +1 attack die and +1 defense die this round. Place an auxiliary power token beside your ship. There's a reminder token for Worf. Not bad. I think there's better versions of Worf out there. He is Mirror Universe though, so if you're playing a faction pure type environment, it gives you another option there. Next up, we have Beverly Crusher. It's another card I take offense to, because in this episode from this ship, that was not her name. Her name was actually Beverly Picard. The captain skill of 5, 1 elite talent for 3 points. If you perform a green maneuver this round, each time you defend this round, you may convert 1 of your battle stations into an evasive result. Makes her a pretty defensive ship, combined with the 5 hull and 4 shield. Definitely can make this into a defensive ship and possibly use it as a support type vessel. Unless we have our generic Mirror Universe captain. Captain skill of 1 for 0 points. For elite talents, we have Yellow Alert. 2 points. At the start of the combat phase, before any attacks are made, you can discard this card. If you do so, place either an auxiliary or a battle station token beside your ship, even if there's already one there. Definitely an interesting ability there. The ability to get multiple battle station tokens. I think there's only a couple cards in the game that allow you to do that, and that's Very nice. Next we have Starfleet Intelligence. 3 points. When defending during the Modify Defense Dice step, you may discard this card to re-roll any number of your defense dice. Or, when attacking during the Modify Attack Dice step, you may discard this card to re-roll any of your attack dice. 3-point discard for a re-roll can be make or break in certain situations. Definitely has its uses. The fact that it can be used on offense or defense is definitely an interesting option there. For crew upgrades, we have Alyssa Ogawa. 2 points. As an action, you can remove a disabled upgrade token from one of your tech or crew upgrades and then perform a scan or evasive as a free action. Lots of ways in this pack to get scan and evasive as free actions. Definitely nice. Does cost you an action. The free evasive or scan kind of make up for that. Next we have Nell Chilton with 3 points. When defending, during the deal damage step after your ship suffers at least 1 damage to its hull, you may discard this card to immediately perform an additional green maneuver. Gives you a chance to kind of get out of there. You have to suffer damage first, but at that point I think it's already going to happen regardless. So, interesting, another way to make this into an interesting defense or support ship. For tech upgrades, we have Impulse Drive for 3 points. During the activation phase, if you reveal a 1, 2, or 3 straight or bank maneuver, before you move you may disable this card. If you do so, and the maneuver is a white maneuver, treat it as a green maneuver. If the maneuver is a red maneuver, treat it as a white maneuver. Kind of interesting, lets you pull some of those hard turns. I think the ship has the 3 hard turn that's a red. You can pull that as a white maneuver. Definitely has its uses in certain situations. I can see other ships making more use of this, especially Mirror Universe. Things like the Regency 1 could definitely aid from that. And last we have Inburst Tachyon Pulse for 2 points. When you initiate an attack while there's a scan token beside your ship, you may disable this card. If you do so, the defending ship rolls -1 defense dice against the attack. No ship can be equipped with more than 1 Inburst Tachyon Pulse upgrade. Basically, if you've got a scan token, you can disable this to get the extra -1 defense die. You're already getting 1 for having the scan token. There's also multiple ways in here to get scan tokens, I believe. So definitely a way to pile on again to make this a good support ship. For the rest of the expansion, we have our 4 shield tokens, our crit and auxiliary token. We have our evasive scan and battle stations token, the reminder token for Worf, a disable token, target lock V2 this time. We also have additional rules cards for the Mirror Universe faction and one for the Admirals, and then our Admiral token and fleet action token to go with Riker. The mission this time is Anti-Time Eruption. I haven't actually read through this one, but I would assume that it comes from the one and only appearance of this ship in the entire series, which would be from the All Good Things episode where they're trying to fix the anti-time rupture. And there you have your special rules for the anomaly, limited time, delayed ships, and the warp static shell, which I believe ends up destroying this ship in the end. Actually, no, the Klingons destroyed this ship, and then the Enterprise-D refit took its place. But definitely an interesting one. And this one is, you have the Klingon players are coming to try to stop them. And I do believe, if I just read that correctly. Yep, then the rules specifically state that the Mirror Universe player gets 2 ships. One of them has to be this ship, and the second one shows up later, which in the actual episode was the Enterprise-D that showed up later to bail them out when the Klingons attacked. For the ship model, while again it's cool to see a new design, a different model, this one falls into the category of the Vidian ship, where it looks more like a McDonald's toy than an actual model. There is, I'm not sure if the camera will catch it, a lot of detail in the dome on the sphere part, but overall it's just a big blocky thing. I hate this ship. I always have. On the bright side, because things like the arms here that hold up the nacelles are thicker, there's no bending or warping like there is in a lot of the other ships, so everything is nice and straight. It's just, in my opinion, a horribly ugly ship all around. And again, there are lots of little details and things in there that you could definitely use some paint to make look much better. And there we have our base for the Pasteur. 90-degree front arc, no rear arc. Again, the generic Olympic class, 90-degree front arc, no rear arc. I will say, oddly enough, the fact that the ship doesn't have a target lock and has no upgrades that can give it a target lock, the fact that they still included one is kind of weird. I think it was the Romulan Apnex or the Vo, one of those original ships, I think it was the Apnex, didn't have a target lock, and they didn't actually give it one, but they skipped the letter because it was reserved for that ship, so it was kind of weird. So maybe that's why it's still in there, just to fill in the letters, but seemed odd. Anyway, overall, it's an interesting pack. Definitely would have to be useful as a defensive or a support ship. The fact that you've only got 2 tech slots and 2 crew slots, though, really hinders it even in that respect. You'd be hard-pressed to find a real use for this other than scenario play, I think. There's a couple interesting upgrades in here, some definitely useful stuff for the Mirror Universe faction or for factions in general if you play cross-faction. But at the same time, I don't see anything that is a must-have in this pack. It's very mediocre. If you're a fan of the ship, which I'm sorry if you are, but I mean, it's worth picking up for that. The mission looks kind of interesting. Very disappointed that the generic version wasn't a cross-faction Federation, so at least the Federation could get an extra ship out of it. Not that they need any, they've already got tons. But, yeah, it's a science ship without enough console slots to make it extremely useful as a science ship. It lacks the attack to be a front or even secondary attack ship. It lacks the tech slots and upgrade slots to make it into a useful support ship. Really a bad ship overall. I mean, if you're not into collecting, there's very little reason to pick this one up. If you enjoy playing Mirror Universe, it might be worth it for Riker, and the Crusher that comes with this isn't bad. But overall, there's nothing, like I said, must-have in here. It's kind of a meh ship. I might be a little biased because I dislike the actual ship so much itself, but judge that one for yourself. Anyway, that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.